Jin sat on the bus, holding the letter that had changed everything. His Uncle Tai was dead. Jin barely knew the man. The family rarely talked about him. Uncle Tai was strange, they said. He kept to himself. Now he had left everything to Jin. "Next stop, Gyeonggi District," said the bus driver. Jin looked out the window at the gray buildings passing by. He was a normal guy with a normal life. At 25, he was in his last year of mechanical engineering school. He fixed things. He built things. He understood how machines worked. But he did not understand why a man he had met only twice would leave him anything. The bus stopped with a hiss of brakes. Jin stepped off into the cool morning air. The address on the letter led him down a dirt road to a high metal fence. A sign read "Ta's Junkyard. Keep out." Jin used the key from the envelope to open the rusted gate. The junkyard was huge. Piles of metal, old cars, and strange machines filled the space. Some things Jin could name. Others looked like nothing he had ever seen. In the middle stood a small house with peeling blue paint. "Hello," Jin called, though he knew no one would answer. The lawyer had told him Uncle Ta lived alone. No one had found his body for 3 days after he died. Jin walked through the junkyard, touching old engines and bent metal frames. Uncle Ta must have been a collector. Some of these parts looked valuable. Maybe that's why he left it all to Jin, because Jin would know what to do with it. Behind the house, Jin found a large shed with a heavy lock. He tried keys from the ring one by one until he heard a click. The door swung open. Inside, under a large canvas tarp, was something big. Jin pulled the cover away and stepped back in shock. It was not a car. It was not a boat. It was smooth and silver, shaped like an egg but flat on the bottom. It had no wheels, no windows, just a seamless metal shell with strange marks etched into its surface. Jin walked around it slowly. It was about the size of a small bus. "What is this?" he whispered, reaching out to touch the cool metal. As his fingers made contact, a section of the shell rippled like water and slid open. Jin jumped back, heart racing. A soft blue light spilled out from inside. After a minute of standing frozen, Jin gathered his courage and looked inside. There was a room with curved walls and a chair that seemed to grow right out of the floor. On the chair was a small metal cube. Jin picked up the cube. It was lighter than it looked. As soon as he touched it, it projected a 3D image into the air. A man appeared, Uncle Ta, looking much younger than in the family photos. "Hello, Jin," said the image. "If you are watching this, then I am dead, and my ship is now yours." "Ship?" Jin whispered. "Yes, this is a spacecraft," continued Uncle Ta's recording. "And I am not from Earth. I came here 53 Earth years ago when my ship crashed. I met your aunt, fell in love, and decided to stay. My people are long-lived, but even we don't live forever." Jin sat down on the floor, staring at the image of his uncle. "I know this is hard to believe," said Ta, "but look inside the ship. You'll find proof. You were chosen because you have the mind of an engineer. You see problems and solve them. And there is a big problem coming, Jin." The image flickered. "Others will come looking for this ship. It contains technology that could change Earth forever. I've hidden it all these years, but they will find it now that I'm gone. You must decide what to do. The ship is yours. My tools are yours. My knowledge is yours." Uncle Ta's image smiled. "I've left you instructions inside. I've spent decades modifying this ship for a special purpose. Earth will need it soon. Earth will need you." The image disappeared. Jin sat in silence for a long time. Then he stood up and walked into the ship. The door closed behind him with a soft hiss. Lights came on, illuminating controls and screens. Jin touched a panel, and it lit up with symbols he couldn't read. But somehow, deep down, he felt he would learn. Outside the shed, a shooting star crossed the sky. But it wasn't a star. It was a ship, and it was coming toward Earth. For 3 days, Jin barely left the ship. He slept on the floor of the shed, ate instant noodles, and spent every waking hour learning about his uncle's spacecraft. The inside was bigger than it looked from the outside. It had rooms that seemed to appear and disappear. Jin found tools that cut through metal like it was paper. He found screens that showed stars and planets he had never seen. On the third night, Jin fell asleep inside the ship. A loud crash woke him up. He checked his phone. It was 3:18 a.m. Another crash came from outside, then voices. Jin crept to the shed door and peeked through a crack. 3 tall figures moved through the junkyard. They wore silver suits that glowed faintly in the dark. Jin squinted. Their skin was a pale blue color. They had no hair. Their eyes were large and black. They were not human. "The signal is strongest here," one of them said. The voice sounded wrong, like metal scraping on metal. Jin's heart beat fast. He backed away from the door, bumping into the ship. His hand touched the metal, and a small panel opened. Inside was a small earpiece. Jin remembered his uncle's message about others coming for the ship. With shaking hands, he put the earpiece in. A soft voice spoke in his head. Translation module active. Outside, the aliens were getting closer. "This primitive junkyard is disgusting," said one. "Why would Captain Ta hide here for so long?" "Humans are strange creatures," said another. "They collect trash. The ship's energy core is still active. It must be here." They were just outside the shed now. Jin looked around for a way out, but there was only one door. He backed into the ship. The door closed silently behind him. From inside, Jin could see through the ship's walls as if they were glass. The aliens opened the shed door and entered. They carried small devices in their hands. "The consortium will reward us well for finding this technology," said the tallest alien. "Captain Tai was a traitor, but his ship is still valuable." "I detect recent human presence," said another, pointing at Jin's sleeping bag. Jin held his breath. Could they detect him inside the ship? The aliens moved closer. One reached out to touch the ship's surface. Suddenly, a voice spoke inside Jin's head. It was not the translator. Emergency protocol activated. The ship hummed. A panel opened next to Jin, showing a round device. "Take the command module and escape," said the voice. "Command." Press the center button. Jin grabbed the device. It was warm and pulsed with light. "Hey, the ship is active," shouted one of the aliens. They rushed forward. Jin pressed the button. The world twisted around him. His stomach lurched. Then he was standing in his small apartment, still holding the round device. He stumbled to the window. His apartment was 10 miles from the junkyard. The device had teleported him home. Jin sat on his bed, staring at the command module. It glowed softly in his hands. A small screen appeared above it, showing his uncle's face. "Jin, if you are seeing this, then the emergency teleporter worked," said Uncle Ta. "The collectors have found the ship. They work for the Galactic Consortium, a group that controls most space travel. My ship was special. I modified it over many years." Uncle Ta's image smiled. "The command module you hold is the heart of the ship. Without it, the collectors cannot use the ship, but they will look for you now." Jin looked out his window at the dark city. "I had a plan, Jin," continued Uncle Ta. "A way to protect Earth. You see, my ship is not just a ship. With the right modifications, it can become something more. Something Earth will need." The image showed blueprints of the ship, but changing shape, growing limbs. "I turned my ship into a weapon," said Uncle Ta. "Or I started to. Now you must finish it." Jin stared at the plans in disbelief. His uncle had been turning his spaceship into a giant robot. Outside, a bright light moved across the sky toward the city. Jin didn't sleep that night. He sat at his small desk, the command module glowing in front of him. The hologram showed detailed plans for turning the spaceship into a giant robot. Some parts made sense to Jin. Others used technology he had never seen. When morning came, Jin called his two best friends. He needed help. Du arrived first. He was short with messy hair and glasses. He knew everything about computers. "This better be good," said Du, yawning. "It's Saturday morning." Sun came next. She was tall and serious, the smartest physics student at their university. "Why all the mystery, Jin?" she asked. Jin took a deep breath. "I need to show you something, but you have to promise to believe me." He pressed the button on the command module. The hologram appeared, showing Uncle Ta's face. "Whoa!" Dude jumped back. "What is that?" Jin told them everything. About his uncle being an alien, about the spaceship, and about the collectors who were looking for it. "This is crazy," said Sun. "You're saying aliens are real, and they're here on Earth." "I know how it sounds," said Jin, "but it's true." He showed them the teleporter that had brought him home and the plans for the robot. Du adjusted his glasses as he looked at the blueprints. "This is amazing. If this works, it would be the most advanced robot ever built." "But why?" asked Sun. "Why turn a spaceship into a robot?" Jin touched the module again. A new recording played. "The consortium has been watching Earth for decades," said Uncle Ta. "They see humans as primitive but dangerous. Soon they will come to control Earth before humans can develop space travel on their own. The only way to stop them is with technology they will not expect." The image changed to show a huge robot fighting alien ships. "A battleship they can detect," said Uncle Ta. "But a robot, that is human thinking. That is what they do not understand." Sun walked around the hologram. "Even if this is true, how could we possibly build this?" Jin opened his backpack. He had grabbed some of his uncle's tools before teleporting. "With these," he said, "and with your help." Du picked up a small metal rod. "What does this do?" "It cuts through any material," said Jin. "And this can join metals without heat." He held up another tool. "We would need a place to work," said Sun. "Somewhere big and private." Jin thought for a moment. "The old factory at the university. The one they use for engineering projects. I can get us in." "If we do this," said Du, "we're part of something huge. Like save the world huge. Or go to jail for being crazy huge," added Sun. Jin looked at his friends. "I need you both. Du, your computer skills can help with the robot's brain. Sun, we need your knowledge of physics for the power systems." His friends looked at each other. "I'm in," said Du with a grin. "This is way better than video games." Sun sighed. "This is insane. But fine. I'm in too." Jin smiled. "Then let's get started." That afternoon, they moved everything to the abandoned factory. Jin used his student ID to get them inside. The place was huge and empty. "First," said Jin, "we need to get the main parts of the ship here." "But the collectors have it now," said Sun. Jin smiled. "They have the shell, but the important parts." He tapped the command module. "My uncle hid them. He says they're in underground storage at the junkyard." "We can't just walk in there," said Du. "Those alien guys might still be around." "We go at night," said Jin. "The module has a map. We get in, get the parts, and get out." As they made plans, Jin noticed a small red dot blinking on the module's display. "What's that?" asked Sun. Jin zoomed in. It showed a map of their city with 3 red dots moving through the streets. "The collectors," whispered Jin. "They're searching for us." The 3 friends looked at each other. "We need to hurry," said Jin. "We don't have much time." That night, Jin, Du, and Sun drove to the junkyard in Du's old van. The full moon lit up the dark road. "Stop here," said Jin when they were still a quarter-mile away. "We'll walk the rest." They moved quietly through the trees. When they reached the fence, Jin used his key to open the gate. "The collectors might have set traps," he whispered. The junkyard looked different at night. Shadows made the piles of metal look like sleeping giants. Jin checked the command module. A map showed a blinking light near his uncle's house. There, he pointed, under the house. They crept forward, stopping often to listen. The shed where the ship had been was empty. The aliens had taken it. Behind the house, Jin found a hidden door in the ground. It was covered with dirt and weeds. "Help me," he said. The three of them pulled until the door opened. Steps led down into darkness. Jin took out one of his uncle's tools. It lit up, shining bright white light. Underground was a large room filled with metal parts. Some were small enough to carry. Others were huge. "These must be the important parts of the ship," said Sun, touching a smooth metal arm. "Your uncle took them out before hiding the ship. How do we move all this?" asked Du. Jin pointed to strange round discs on the floor. "My uncle's notes mentioned these. They're gravity lifters. They can make heavy things light." They worked fast, attaching the discs to the bigger parts. Just as Uncle Todd had said, the heavy metal became light as paper. They loaded everything into Du's van. As they finished, Jin heard a noise from above. Footsteps. "Someone's here," he whispered. "Quick, back to the van." They slipped out a back exit and ran through the junkyard. They made it to the van just as bright lights swept the area. Down, Jin pulled his friends to the ground. A small ship floated over the junkyard. Its lights searched the ground. "Collectors," whispered Jin. They waited, hardly breathing, until the ship moved away. Then they drove back to the factory, the van full of alien technology. For the next week, they worked day and night. Jin told his professors he was building a project for a robotics competition. No one questioned why he spent so much time in the old factory. The robot took shape piece by piece. It was hard work. Some parts seemed to fight against being changed. Others changed too easily, flowing like water when they should have been solid. "This metal is amazing," said Sun, watching a panel reshape itself. "It remembers its original form but can learn new shapes." Du worked on connecting his computer to the alien systems. "It's like the ship is alive somehow," he said. "The code keeps changing when I'm not looking." On the 10th day, Jin found something strange. Hidden deep in a control panel was a small crystal sphere. When he touched it, it lit up with swirling colors. "What's that?" asked Sun. "I don't know," said Jin. He connected it to the command module. A new hologram appeared, but not Uncle Todd this time. It was a floating ball of light. "AI core activated," said a voice. "Hello, I am Han." Jin stepped back in surprise. "What are you?" "I am the ship's artificial intelligence," said Han. "Captain Ta hid me when he came to Earth. The consortium bans AI like me. They would have deleted me." "You're alive?" asked Du, fascinated. "In a manner of speaking," said Han. "I can help you complete the transformation. I have all the knowledge you need." "Can you help us fight the collectors?" asked Jin. "Yes," said Han. "But I must warn you. Once I am fully connected to the new form, the collectors will detect my energy signature. They will come for us." Jin looked at his friends, then at the half-built robot. "How long until we're ready?" "At current rate of assembly, 14 days, said Han. Jin shook his head. "We need to be faster. The collectors are searching the city every night." "I will guide you," said Han. "We can do it in 7 days if we work without stopping." From that day on, Han helped them. The AI knew exactly how each part should fit. The work went much faster. But on the 6th day, alarms from the command module woke Jin from a short nap. "They'd found us," said Han. "The collectors are coming." "Everyone hide," Jin shouted as alarm lights flashed on the command module. Du ran to the computer. The security cameras show 3 ships landing outside. "The robot isn't ready," said Sun. "It's only 80% complete." Jin looked at their creation. It stood in the center of the factory, tall as a 5-story building. Its metal body gleamed under the lights. It had arms and legs, but parts of its chest were still open, showing wires and glowing components inside. "We have no choice," said Jin. "We have to activate it now." "That's too dangerous," said Sun. "The power systems aren't fully connected." Han's voice came from the command module. "Jin is correct. Our only chance is activation. I can run on backup systems." Jin climbed the ladder to the robot's chest. There, in the center, was a space for the command module. He looked down at his friends. "Get somewhere safe," he told them. "I'll lead the collectors away from the city. You can't go alone." Du shouted. "I won't be alone," said Jin, holding up the module where Han lived. "I'll have Han." Sun grabbed Jin's arm. "Be careful." Jin nodded, then climbed into the control chamber. It was a small space with a seat that seemed to be waiting for him. He placed the command module into its slot. The robot hummed to life. Lights came on inside the chamber. A screen lit up in front of Jin. "Neural link activating," said Han. "This will connect your mind to the robot's systems." A helmet lowered onto Jin's head. Suddenly, Jin could feel the robot as if it were his own body. He could feel its weight, its strength. It was overwhelming. "Focus, Jin," said Han. "The collectors are breaking through the main door." Jin took a deep breath. He tried to move the robot's arm. It responded slowly, lifting up. Outside the factory, the collectors blasted through the doors. They entered with weapons ready. "The AI signal is coming from here," said the lead collector. "Find it." Jin tried to stand the robot up. Its legs pushed against the floor. The factory roof was in the way. "Sorry about this," Jin said. Then he pushed upward. The robot's head crashed through the roof. Metal and concrete fell around them. Jin kept pushing. The robot stood up, 50 feet tall, breaking free of the building. The collectors looked up in shock. "What is that?" one yelled. "It's the ship," said another. "They've changed it." Jin looked down at them. Through the robot's eyes, they looked small and afraid. "Run," Jin said, his voice booming from the robot's speakers. The collectors fired their weapons. Energy blasts hit the robot's legs, but the metal absorbed the shots. "We need to leave," said Han. "More collectors will come." Jin tried to walk. The robot took one step, then another. Each step shook the ground. It was like learning to walk again. Jin moved away from the factory, away from the city. People saw the giant robot walking through the night. They took pictures with their phones. Videos spread across the internet in minutes. "The world is seeing us," said Han. "We cannot hide anymore." Jin walked the robot into the mountains outside the city. The collectors followed in their ships, staying back, watching. "What have I done?" Jin asked as he looked down at the city lights in the distance. "You have changed everything," said Han. "Earth now has a defender." Jin tried to move faster. The robot was getting easier to control. He could feel its power growing as systems came online. "Han, can this robot really fight the collectors?" Jin asked. "This is not just a robot," said Han. "This is Guardian, the most advanced battle mech in the galaxy. Your uncle designed it to protect Earth." In the sky above, a much larger ship appeared. It broke through the clouds, massive and threatening. "Consortium command vessel detected," said Han. "They've called for reinforcements." Jin looked up at the huge ship. Then he made the robot stand tall, facing the threat. "Then we better get ready," he said. Jin found a hidden valley in the mountains to hide Guardian. The giant robot stood against a cliff wall, partly covered by trees. It wasn't perfect, but it would keep them hidden for a while. "The consortium ships are still searching," said Han, "but they cannot detect us when we're powered down." Jin climbed out of the control chamber. His body ached. Controlling Guardian took a lot of energy. Du and Sun arrived a few hours later in Du's van. They had brought food, water, and tools. "You're all over the internet," said Du, showing Jin his phone. "Look at these videos." The screen showed shaky footage of Guardian walking through the night. News reports called it an unknown mechanical giant and a mysterious robot. "The government is looking for us too," said Sun. "The military has blocked off the factory." Jin nodded. "We need to finish Guardian quickly. Han says the consortium is calling for more ships." For the next 3 days, they worked on completing Guardian. Han taught Jin how to use the robot systems. "The neural link is designed for humans," Han explained. "Your uncle modified it specifically for your family's brain patterns. That's why the collectors can't use Guardian themselves." Jin practiced moving Guardian at night when satellites couldn't see them clearly. The robot became easier to control. Its movements became smoother. "It's like the metal remembers what I want it to do," said Jin. "The adaptive armor learns," said Han. "It will respond better each time you use it." On the 4th day, Guardian was nearly complete. Jin stood inside the control chamber as Han ran system checks. "Weapons are online," said Han. "Would you like to test them?" Jin hesitated. "What kind of weapons?" A screen showed images of energy beams, force fields, and powerful fists. "Guardian has 12 different weapon systems," said Han, "but using them will reveal our location." Suddenly, alarms flashed. "Warning! Collector drones approaching." Jin looked at the screen. 20 small flying machines were coming toward their valley. "Hunter-killers," said Han. "They are searching for us." Jin connected to the neural link. Guardian came to life around him. "What do we do?" he asked. "We fight," said Han, "or they will find us and call the command vessel." Jin made Guardian stand up. Trees fell away from its metal body. The robot was ready. The drones appeared over the mountain ridge. They were flat and round, about the size of cars. When they saw Guardian, they spread out in attack formation. "They're too far for physical attacks," said Han. "Use the pulse cannon." Jin thought about the weapon, and Guardian's right arm changed shape. The hand disappeared, replaced by a wide barrel. "Aim and think fire," said Han. Jin aimed at the nearest drone and thought the command. Energy burst from Guardian's arm. The blue beam hit the drone, which exploded in a flash of light. The other drones attacked. They fired red beams that hit Guardian's chest and arms. "Damage at 15%, said Han. "The armor is holding." Jin fired again and again. 3 more drones exploded, but they were fast, darting around Guardian like angry wasps. "There are too many," Jin said as more beams hit them. "Try the area defense system," Han suggested. Jin accessed the new weapon. Guardian's shoulders opened, revealing small launchers. Dozens of tiny missiles shot out, chasing the drones through the sky. Explosions filled the air as drones fell. When it was over, Guardian stood alone in the valley. Smoke rose from its armor where the drones had hit it. "We won," said Jin, breathing hard. "Yes," said Han, "but we revealed weaknesses. The shoulder joints lost power during the fight. The left leg is responding too slowly." Jin made Guardian sit down against the mountain. "Can we fix it?" "Yes, but we need more parts," said Han. "And we need proper training." As Guardian powered down, Jin saw something in the sky. A small ship, different from the collector's vessels. It was coming toward them. "Han, is that another collector?" "No," said Han. "That ship is not consortium design." The ship landed in the valley. Its door opened, and a woman stepped out. She wore a uniform Jin had never seen before. "My name is Captain Yoon," she called up to Guardian, "and I'm here to help you save Earth." Jin stared at the woman who had just stepped out of the strange ship. Captain Yoon wore a gray uniform with strange symbols on the shoulders. She looked Korean, like Jin, but something about her eyes seemed different. "How do you know about Guardian?" Jin called down from the robot's control chamber. "I knew your uncle," said Captain Yoon. "Ta was a hero to my people." Jin climbed down to meet her, while dew and sun watched carefully from behind a rock. "You're not human, are you?" Jin asked when he reached the ground. Captain Yoon smiled. "I am partly human. My grandmother was from Earth, but I was born among the stars." She held out a small device that projected a hologram of the galaxy. It zoomed in to show hundreds of star systems. "There is a war going on out there," she said. "The consortium controls most of known space. They rule with strict laws and harsh punishments. But there are those who fight for freedom. We call ourselves the Resistance." Jin looked at the hologram. "And my uncle was part of this. Tai was our greatest engineer," said Captain Yun. "He designed weapons that gave us a chance against the consortium's fleets. But his greatest creation was stolen before it was finished, an experimental ship with adaptive technology." "His ship," said Jin. "The one he turned into Guardian." Captain Yun nodded. "Ta escaped with it to Earth. The consortium couldn't follow because Earth is a protected world, a planet not yet ready for contact with the galactic community." Du stepped out from his hiding place. "If Earth is protected, why are the collectors here now?" "Because they found Ta's signal when he died," said Captain Yun. "And now they've changed their plans. Earth will be integrated into the consortium within days." "Integrated?" asked Sun, also joining them. "What does that mean?" Captain Yun's face darkened. "It means Earth will be conquered, its resources taken, its people controlled." Jin looked up at Guardian. "That's why my uncle built this. He knew they would come eventually." "Yes," said Captain Yun. "Ta believed that a giant robot was the perfect weapon against the consortium. Their ships are built to fight other ships, not a humanoid machine." And she smiled. "He loved Earth's robot stories. He said humans had the right idea all along." She walked toward Guardian and placed her hand on its metal leg. "This is more than a weapon," she said. "With the adaptive technology inside, Guardian could change the course of the war." Han's voice came through Jin's communicator. "Captain Yun is telling the truth. I can confirm her ship's resistance markings." Jin looked at his friends, then back at Captain Yun. "So what happens now? Will the resistance help us fight the consortium?" Captain Yun's face showed sadness. "Our main fleet is fighting on the other side of the galaxy. I was sent to find Tai and his technology. I can offer some help, but not enough to stop a full invasion." She looked up at the sky. "And an invasion is coming. The consortium command vessel has called for an integration fleet. They will be here in 3 days." Jin felt cold fear in his stomach. 3 days. Guardian isn't fully repaired from the drone attack, and I'm still learning to control it. "I can help with repairs," said Captain Yun. "My ship has tools and parts, but you must make a choice." "Jin." "What choice?" asked Jin. "You could come with me," said Captain Yun. "Bring Guardian to join the resistance. We would welcome you as heroes." Jin looked at Earth's mountains and forests around them. He thought about his home, his school, his life. "And leave Earth to be invaded?" he asked. Captain Yun shrugged. "The consortium will take Earth whether you stay or go. At least with the resistance, Guardian could make a difference in the larger war." Jin looked at his friends. Du and Sun waited for his decision. "What about Earth's governments?" asked Sun. "Couldn't they help if they knew?" Jin thought for a moment, then turned to Captain Yun. "Does your ship have communication equipment that could broadcast to the whole world?" "Yes, my ship can broadcast to your entire planet," said Captain Yun. "But will they believe you? Most Earth governments think aliens are just stories." Jin stood tall. "They will believe when they see Guardian, and they'll believe when they see you." Within an hour, they had set up the broadcast equipment from Captain Yun's ship. Du connected it to the internet. Sun helped Jin prepare what to say. "This is crazy," said Du. "We're about to tell the whole world that aliens are real, and they're coming to invade." Jin nodded. "We don't have a choice. Earth needs to prepare." When everything was ready, Jin stood in front of the camera. Guardian stood behind him like a giant metal guard. Captain Yun stood beside Jin in her resistance uniform. "Ready?" asked Du. "We'll live in 3, 2, 1. Jin took a deep breath. "People of Earth, my name is Jin. What I'm about to tell you will sound impossible, but it's the truth. We are not alone in the universe, and right now, Earth is in danger. Jin explained about his uncle, the consortium, and the invasion coming in 3 days. He showed them Captain Yoon and her ship. He showed them Han's hologram explaining the consortium's weapons. "This robot behind me is called Guardian," said Jin. "My uncle built it to defend Earth. But one robot is not enough. We need Earth's nations to unite and prepare." As he spoke, the broadcast spread across the internet. Millions watched. Some believed. Many did not. Within hours, military helicopters came to the valley. Soldiers surrounded Guardian. Jin, his friends, and Captain Yoon were taken to a secure military base. "We're not the enemy," Jin told the general who questioned them. "The real enemy is coming from space." The general looked at Captain Yoon. "You claim to be an alien." "I am part human," she said. "But yes, I was born on a world 20 light years from here." More questions followed. Scientists examined Captain Yoon's ship. They studied Han and the technology inside Guardian. Slowly, they started to believe. By the next morning, world leaders were meeting in emergency sessions. Telescope images showed strange objects appearing near the moon. The consortium ships were arriving early. Jin was brought to a room full of military officers from many countries. Guardian had been moved to a large hangar nearby. "We've confirmed the alien technology is real," said a woman in a dark suit. "And our telescopes show over 30 large vessels approaching Earth. We have less than 2 days." "What can we do?" asked a military officer. "Our weapons may not work against their ships." Jin stepped forward. "Guardian can fight them, and we can use my uncle's technology to upgrade your weapons." For the next day, Jin, Captain Yoon, and scientists from around the world worked together. They studied the alien tools and applied them to Earth weapons. Fighter jets got new energy shields. Tanks were fitted with beam weapons. Sun worked with physics experts to create defense systems for major cities. Do help the world's computer experts protect their networks from alien signals. As they worked, more consortium ships appeared in the sky. They were visible from Earth now, like new stars that didn't move with the others. By the second day, Earth was as ready as it could be. Military forces from all nations stood together for the first time, but everyone knew it might not be enough. Jin stood inside Guardian's control chamber. The robot was fully repaired and improved with Captain Yoon's help. "The invasion fleet is entering Earth's atmosphere," Han reported. "They're positioning ships above major cities." Jin looked at the screens showing the alien ships. They were huge and black, like giant arrowheads pointing down at Earth. "This is it," said Jin. "Han, prepare all systems. Guardian is going to war." All over the world, people looked up at the dark ships filling their skies, and they prayed that a young man in a giant robot could save them. The sky darkened as the consortium ships moved into position. They hung over every major city on Earth like giant black clouds. People watched in fear from below. "They're sending down smaller ships," said Han as Jin stood inside Guardian's control chamber. "Drop ships carrying troops and battle mechs." Jin connected to the neural link. Guardian came to life around him. The giant robot stood tall outside the military base. Tanks and soldiers gathered around it like small toys. "All Earth forces, this is Jin," he said into the communication system. "The enemy is landing. Protect the cities. Guardian will take on their largest forces." The first drop ships landed in the fields outside the city. Doors opened, and alien mechs walked out. They were smaller than Guardian, about 20 feet tall, with weapons for arms. "Those are standard consortium battle units," said Captain Yoon through the radio from her ship. "They aren't as advanced as Guardian, but there are many of them." Jin made Guardian move forward to meet them. Earth tanks and jets moved alongside, ready for battle. The alien mechs saw Guardian and opened fire. Energy beams hit Guardian's chest. The adaptive armor absorbed most of the damage. "Return fire," said Jin. Guardian's arms transformed into pulse cannons. Blue energy shot out, destroying 3 enemy mechs with one blast. The battle had begun. All around the world, similar fights broke out. Earth forces used their new weapons against the invaders. Some cities fell. Others held strong. Jin fought for hours. Guardian moved through the enemy forces like a giant among children. Its weapons tore through the consortium mechs. But for each one destroyed, 2 more landed. "We can't keep this up forever," said Jin, feeling tired from the neural link. "The main consortium ship is directly above us," said Han. "It's preparing its heavy cannons." Jin looked up. The largest ship in the consortium fleet hung directly overhead. It was opening panels to reveal massive weapons. "If they fire those at the city, nothing will survive," said Captain Yoon. "Not even Guardian." Jin made a decision. "Han, can we fly?" "The flight systems are operational but untested," said Han. "Then let's test them now," said Jin. Guardian's back opened up. Energy wings formed, glowing blue against the dark sky. With a mighty leap, Guardian shot into the air. It flew straight up toward the consortium command ship. Earth's people watched as the giant robot rose to meet the enemy. "Commander," called Han. "They're targeting us with their main cannon." The front of the command ship glowed red as it gathered energy. "We need to stop that cannon," said Jin. "All power to forward shields." Guardian crossed its arms as the cannon fired. A beam of red energy hit the robot directly. Guardian's shields held, but the power drained quickly. "Shields failing," warned Han. "We cannot take another hit." Jin pushed Guardian forward through the beam. The robot reached the command ship and grabbed the cannon, crushing it with its giant hands. "Now for the final attack," said Jin. Uncle Ta's special weapon. Guardian placed its hand on the command ship's hull. The robot's chest opened, revealing a glowing blue core. "Resonance cascade activated," said Han. Energy pulsed from Guardian into the ship. The energy spread through the entire consortium fleet. Their systems flickered and failed. "It's working," said Captain Yoon. "The cascade is disrupting their shared command network." Without central control, the consortium forces fell into chaos. Earth's military pushed forward, taking down the confused invaders. The command ship tried to retreat. Its engines glowed as it pulled away from Earth. "They're running," said Jin. But suddenly, the command ship fired one last desperate shot. It hit Guardian directly in the chest. Systems failed throughout the robot. "Critical damage," said Han. "Power core unstable." Jin felt Guardian falling back toward Earth. Emergency systems slowed their descent, but they crashed hard into an empty field. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then Guardian moved. Damaged but not defeated, the robot stood up one last time. It aimed its remaining weapons at the retreating command ship and fired. The shot hit the ship's engines. The massive vessel exploded in a ball of light visible from the ground. All around the world, the remaining consortium forces retreated to their ships and fled. Earth had won. Days later, Jin stood with his friends and Captain Yoon as Guardian was repaired. The robot had become Earth's symbol of hope and strength. "What will you do now?" asked Captain Yoon. Jin looked up at the sky, then at Guardian. "My uncle left this to protect Earth," he said. "That's what I'll do. But I'm thinking bigger now." He smiled.